there. So we welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, where we welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. And we have a lovely opening song here while we meet and greet each other and say good morning and happy Mother's Day.
Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she precious? Less than 1 minute old. I never thought through love we'd be making one as lovely as she. Isn't she lovely? Made from love. Isn't she pretty? Truly the angel's best. Boy, I'm so happy. We have been heaven blessed. I can't believe what God has done through us. He's given life to one. Isn't she lovely? Made from love. Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she precious? Less than 1 minute old. I never thought through love we'd be making one as lovely as she. Isn't she lovely? Made from love. Isn't she pretty? Truly the angel's best. Boy, I'm so happy. We have been heaven blessed. I can't believe what God has done through us. He's given life to one. Isn't she lovely? Made from love.
Nice. Sunday with Stevie Wonder, and it's a good Sunday, yeah? Yeah. All right, so please help me welcome our presider this morning, Mr. Wayne McDonald. Yes?
Excuse me.
We've done a lot of classes together over the years. Yes. Including ministerial class, yeah. All right, so let's all take a deep, conscious breath. Allow ourselves to surrender to this eternal now moment as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as we light the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion, of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the 9th candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center. And as Wayne lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only
Join me in this opening treatment, and I invite you to close your eyes if you wish. And just as we go within, I just know and recognize God is that source and substance of supply. And I know in this day that it is a day filled with love, laughter, peace, and joy. I know that each and every person I meet and greet today, I uplift them, and I send them love, peace, and harmony. And every form of communication I have today is from that heart center that is open, it is giving, it is kind. And with a grateful heart, I give thanks for this gathering, I give thanks for the center, and I give thanks for each and every person here that is on their spiritual journey. Knowing this is so, I release and let go, knowing it's complete and done, and together we say, and so it is. Morning. I'm Wayne McDonald. I'm one of the presiders here. And today I'm going to talk about communicating from the heart. Today, as we celebrate Mother's Day, I think about my own relationship with my mom and the great relationship we have. And I also think about Mother Earth. And in this kind of day, I can just sense and feel that love that surrounds each and every person we meet and greet. And in this place of love, peace, and harmony, it's a good time to kind of remember to communicate from the heart. Are your words loving and kind? Do you uplift people with your words when you speak? And is it from your heart to their heart? Now, I know many of you sitting there and out there online are nodding yes. But the real question is, what about tomorrow? What about tomorrow when you come home from work after driving on the freeway and somebody says, how was your day? Usually most of us complain about the freeway or about the problems we had during the day. And this is a good time to remind ourselves that when we step into our homes and are asked how was our day, to remind ourselves to be uplifting. Say something positive that happened that day. Something that maybe you had an aha moment, or you just, it was just, there has to be some golden thread there someplace that made that day worthwhile. In the book, Being Your Higher Self by Sanaya Roman, she says, when you speak, be as harmonious and loving as possible. you might imagine that you're sending out waves of harmony and peace to others as you talk. Sinea also says that if you have something that may be challenging or difficult to discuss, try meditating and first send that person waves of harmony and peace. Then send them a mental message that you love and accept them as they are. Rehearse in your mind before you speak and listen with your heart. Are your thoughts loving and kind? Higher communication does not blame or make the other person wrong. It creates an opening for that person to grow. Now, as kids, we have all been taught before crossing the street to look both directions. And you're all taught to look and then look right, look left, look right. Okay, we got it. You look. Well, when you communicate, you should also think about that the same way. Before you start communicating or asking somebody a question, look. Are they busy? Are they doing something? Are they right now open and ready to be engaged into a conversation? Or if they're busy and there's something else going on, then maybe it might be another time to talk to them. As you communicate this week and talk to people, let us all listen to the words we use and uplift everybody with the thoughts of harmony and peace. And to you, I say love, peace, and joy. And so it is.
One bright and guiding light that taught me wrong from right. I found in my mother's eyes. Those baby tales she told of streets all paved with gold, I found in my mother's eyes. Just like a wandering sparrow, one lonely soul. So I walk the straight and narrow till I reach my goal. God's gift sent from above, a real unselfish love. I found in my mother's eyes. Just like a wandering just to reach my goal. A gift sent from above, a real unselfish love. I found in my mother's arms. I found in my mother's arms.
Right? Wow, that was really, really sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. That made me a little weepy, actually. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers who are here. And thank you, thank you. I miss my mom, you know. It's 5 years and I still miss my mom. Are there announcements? Today, I'm here to highlight some of the announcements, but before I do that, let me just say that we had a spectacular event yesterday, thanks to Miss Bonnie and John Reese. So I'd like to first just give a shout out to them for opening their home and their garden, and this was Bonnie's vision, and it was exquisite. It was elegant and classy and intimate and warm, and the food was great. And we had the guys, including John, Reverend Mike, Rick, Al, Tatsuo, Daniel, Greg, and forgive me if I'm forgetting anyone. Did I say Wayne? Wayne. We had the guys serving us in a most, just a loving, it was such a loving space. And I just want to thank everybody who participated on the committees, and I was not on a committee, but when I walked in yesterday, I was floored at the flowers. Of course, Leslie did the flowers. These are some of them. It was fantastic. So thank you, everybody who participated and everybody who was there. What an event, honestly, what an event. So today we do have our healing support group at 1 o'clock, which takes place in the kids' room in the back. And that's a wonderful, or is it going to be in here? In the back. It's a wonderful supportive space. If there's any area of your life that you would like to receive healing in, we will be there to support you in that. And then coming up is the Lake Arrowhead Retreat, and that is taking place May 26th, Friday, May 26th through Monday, May 29th. And I think there's still time to sign up for that. And any other activities that are taking place are here in your program. Let me also say that, Danae has rescheduled her one-woman show, and apparently now it is scheduled for June 23rd is she here? She could talk about it. June 23rd from 7 to 9 in the evening. That's going to be a blast. I know she's going to be representing different characters in her mind. So it's a one-woman show, and it's really going to be fun. So be sure to come out and support that. Also, I forgot to mention that as a guest of the garden tea party yesterday, you received a gift bag. And in the gift bag, there was a little jar of honey. That honey came from John's hives. He has two hives in their garden. And the honey that you received in the gift bag is straight, direct from his hive. So enjoy that, and thank you.
At this time, please stand for the Declaration of Principles. And together, we believe in one universal Spirit, manifesting through all,
always sets such a nice vibe, doesn't it? Let's give the band a hand again. So I appreciate the acknowledgments to John and Bonnie, but I do need to take a few moments just to say it really was an exceptional affair and really beautiful. And so I know many hands make great work, or light work, I should say. Well, maybe if you're working under me, it makes more work, but it makes light work. And so I thank everyone who had anything to do with yesterday's acknowledgement of our mothers, of our spiritual community, and it was kind of cool to have the guys serving. And it was my pleasure to do that, yeah. So, and the guys did it very well. We really rose to the occasion, I must say. Yeah, so. Yeah, it was maybe the start of a men's group. Who knows? So yes, Happy Mother's Day, and when we say Happy Mother's Day, I was talking to Angela and friends before the service. How before ministry, Mother's Day was like, Happy Mother's Day. Here's a card. Here's some flowers. I'll spend some time with you, right? Because that's my gift to you. It's for me to be in your presence, right? That kind of thing. From this perspective now, as a practitioner, as a minister of spiritual community, I see now that it's a much more complicated idea. That there are very complicated relationships with mothers out there. Now, mine is pretty simple. I love my mom and she loves me. This is in the 80s. You can tell by the fanny pack and the Giants cap. This is before the Seahawks started winning. And so they didn't have corduroy caps yet. So I like the cap. So that's Mom. She was and is a nurse, and I'm happy to say she's still with us. So, hi, Mom. Happy Mother's Day, if you figured out how to get online today. Yes. And so I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge our mothers in maybe a different way that we don't typically do around here. So I'm going to ask all of us to take a deep breath and allow us to just surrender ourselves. And I do want to acknowledge our teens who are in the room today, our kids who are in the room today, who come to support their moms in this sweet way. So again, taking another deep breath. And just take a moment to center ourselves and to think on our brothers and sisters this morning whose mothers have moved on to the next great expression this year. So our own Michael Carland, his mother just made her transition last week. And as we think on our friends and maybe even ourselves who've parents have left us this year and in this realm, let's just send them love and support and light and love them up in this moment. Exhaling and taking a deep breath. For those who may be estranged from their mothers, let's hold them and their mothers in love and light in this moment. Just sending love and light, maybe even bringing a smile to the face, to that smile opening the heart just a wee bit. And exhaling and breathing. For mothers, knowing for mothers in partnership or in marriage with kids at home, that their relationship with their beloved grows in love in the most nurturing ways for each other, that demonstrates the energy and confidence to meet any situation. And let us know with them that their home is one of love, of support, and of discovery for their children, both within themselves and in the Spirit. So exhaling and breathing into this moment, we're remembering and sending love to our single mothers out there, and acknowledge and know that they are loved and supported. We know further that they are supported generously and easily by people who understand child support as spiritual practice. And this commitment is made and kept with ease and grace. And we see them all in love and with peace and tranquility and light. And exhale and breathe. So let's take a moment for those who have them to remember our stepmothers. My stepmother, Eileen. Acknowledging the challenges in this unique role. To forgive them if needed. To raise them in gratitude for the lessons within these unique relationships. So exhaling and breathing in and loving those women for whom the act of giving birth biologically may not have been realized on this earth plane, and know that every day they are birthing for the world new ways of love, of understanding, and parenting the children of the planet in safety, in health, and happiness. Exhaling, inhaling, and remembering the children of the planet, regardless of age, who may have never known their mother on this earth plane. That we love them this morning and know for them and for all beings, including ourselves, that we are all within the infinite heart of the divine, the very bosom of the divine feminine, the sacred feminine heart of the divine, which is embracing all right now. And so in this remembrance of Mother's Day, we are opening to a greater realization of the divine feminine, which has made itself known in its infinite ways of being. And so we honor motherhood in its infinite diversity of life, that we honor our mothers and love and appreciate them for giving us this gift of life, which may have struggle in it, yes, challenges in it, yes, but we remember further that we have chosen to incarnate as spiritual beings, as an individualized expression of the eternality of the one, to express at this unique moment in time, to learn what is to be learned and to lift others into a fuller and deeper realization of themselves as expressions of the divine. To me, this is the sweet spot of life. All right, so let's take a deep breath. Just release it. Let it go. So I understand. So here we go. Speaking of Mother Earth, Wayne. Another manifestation of Mother. This is up in the Bishop area, which is really dramatically beautiful and gorgeous right now with the snowfall and green everywhere. life just bursting, literally bursting forth. And so I understand that when we think about this idea of mother, that it is in the modern world, and probably always has been, right? So if we look at ancient scripture, Hebrew scripture, we see all kinds of complicated relationships between mothers, daughters-in-laws, sons, daughters, sisters between themselves. Like there's this gal, Leah, very strong woman. I forget which wife she was. I think Jacob, but I can't be sure. Very complicated relationships are in there. That's why it's good to read this stuff. Right? It's kind of an ancient reminder. Hey, get over yourself, man. This stuff's been going on for a long time. Do your work. Do your work. Heal it. Be done with it. Move on. So there may be some forgiveness work needed here this morning. And if this is true for you, I encourage you in this moment to release and let go of that old story just for now. You can pick it up later if you want to, but just for now, let go of it. Let's forget all that stuff now. And consider this quote from Paramahansa Yogananda: a mother's love is not given to us to spoil us with indulgence. Hear that, teens? A mother's love is not given to us to spoil us with indulgence, but to soften our hearts, that we may, in turn, soften others with kindness. And he goes on to say in this passage that in India we speak of God as Mother Divine. And every mother then is a manifestation of God's unconditional love at the level of spirit, right? Sometimes disguised, yes, but it's there. Every mother is a manifestation of God's unconditional love. Although human mothers can be imperfect, the divine mother is perfect. That mothers were created by God to show us that we are loved with or without cause. That we are loved with or without cause. This is the idea of the infinite heart of spirit expressing. Now, in the West, we're not really used to thinking things that way because we come from a mindset that is a patriarchal mindset. So we've had male high priests and later priests and preachers. And frankly, women in ministry are really new to the game. Not because they didn't have the heart to serve in this way, but because their congregations had to kind of get used to the idea. Actually, maybe not even that. Maybe it was the leadership, all those men who had to get their heads around the idea. So even in Catholicism, right? So the oldest form of government left on the planet, really, if you think about it, they too are considering, once again, the ordination of women. So that open heart, and within the Christian tradition, all the many saints and martyrs who were women. And of course, the most famous one, I suppose, would be Mother Mary. And it's interesting to me that in this tradition, in this Western tradition of Catholicism, in Roman Catholicism, that this need to connect with the divine feminine, with the sacred feminine, people were much more willing to see their face of God reflected in the sacred feminine. So we see here Mary and the Christ child and the stars around it. Mike looked this up for me. It's great to have good staff. The crown of immortality, a metaphor for the reward awaiting martyrs. Right? So here's white Mary. Right? White European Mary. Here's Our Lady of Guadalupe, right? So the patroness of our Latin friends of Latin America. We have African Mary and the Christ child. So they're much more willing to play with this stuff with Mary, right? So, and then this image from India, right? So this multicultural idea, the many faces of God expressing itself as the divine feminine, which is really, if you think about it, this is the heart of the whole deal. In fact, Matthew Fox, in his book, The Cosmic Christ, refers to the Christ as the feminine nature of God. The heart of God the Father expressing itself as the Christ. Right? And in this union in consciousness, of course, right, the Holy Spirit is brought forth in a big, joyful, laughing explosion of joy and expression. Cosmic Christ. Yeah. So he didn't last. They actually asked him to leave the priesthood, but I think the guy's really deep. The Cosmic Christ, Matthew Fox. So we acknowledge that adult-child relationships can sometimes be complicated. And if we look around in the outer world, maybe this idea of feminine and masculine looks like two different things, right? Male, female, dark, light, rich, poor. We see duality expressed in all of its ways in the outer universe. And yet, if one considers for a moment the nature of the divine, it must have components of both of both feminine and masculine within it, because it's one thing. There is no division between these two things. And in fact, Holmes calls the Spirit, one of his many names for God, is the androgynous one, right? The androgynous one, containing both the masculine and the feminine. So think of, if you want an image of this, think of the Tao symbol, right? So that you've seen it on surfboards or on surf wax. It's that round circle that's got the wave in it. One side's black and one side's white. And on one side, in the black, there's one little spot of white. And on the white side, there's one little spot of black. All one thing. The unity of the oneness of spirit, expressing as each one of us. Now, what does that mean for us as humans in expression? Well, I think we have to understand that we have both of that in us. And frankly, I don't think women have this is not a tough concept for women, I don't think, to understand that they are the feminine and they have masculine sides to them. I think that's like duh. But for men, right, so culturally, it's kind of been, I'm just going to speak from my own experience as a male. Maybe it's different for you. But expressing my feminine side was not encouraged, right? And in fact, a lot of my struggle was about how to be comfortable with that and not feel like a girly man, right? So I went into a manly profession, right? So I worked like a man, and I drank like a man, and I fought like a man, and I cursed like a man, right? And I was a complete jerk. Right? Because with all that hard shell of bombast laid this sensitive heart that I just wasn't comfortable with. And so it made me all kinds of things. Made me homophobic. Made me support the death penalty. Made me support a harsh view of life. I'm speaking to my path. But I have a feeling that there are many men who can identify on some level. And so what happens? Right? As we become comfortable as we become comfortable with that softer side within ourselves, we are then cracked open. We are not brokenhearted, but broken open. And from that vulnerable place then, we are able to then surrender to an experience of the divine that goes beyond the head, beyond the dogma, beyond the rules, beyond the thou shouts, and instead opens us up to have an expression of the divine. Now, these guys have been out there. Francis of Assisi, John of the Cross, Abraham, Moses, Muhammad. Right? So the examples have been there, waiting for us to wake up. So, in this way, Ernest Holmes kind of had his own cracked open moment, and he saw it this way, that the assertive masculine principle is the thing that we think with. And that the heart of the law then is that the receptive feminine principle within us. So when we release our word unto the law, we are releasing our word, our masculine, our conscious, assertive self, that we are asserting our word into the receptive activity of the divine feminine, releasing it into that. And that our seed thought, like the homo homunculus of the old Hebrew idea, right? So the reason why it was a sin to engage in non-sanctioned sexual activity was because you didn't spill your seed, because it was seen as a divine seed to be impregnated into the womb. And so that's just why it was so sanctified, really. So in this way then, our thoughts then are seed thoughts, impregnating the divine womb of the universe. We're releasing it unto its own divine activity with a sense of knowing and with a sense of authority that it's done. So Holmes, as a farm kid and looking for ways to connect Mother Earth with us as an expression, as a natural expression of the consciousness of divine itself, he uses these metaphors to help us get our head around the idea that it's all one thing. It's all one thing. The universal medium or soul has been called the womb of nature, and the Holy Mother because it is receptive to the Spirit as an impregnated with divine ideas. So we are the individualized expression of Spirit, and even though we think that we're coming up with all these great and beautiful and wonderful and brilliant thoughts, it's really the one mind of the Spirit expressing itself through our mentality. That's kind of a big idea. I'll let you sit with that. And then we release that assertive principle to the law. And it gives birth to the ideas of what? The Spirit as you. The Spirit as me. And is therefore the feminine principle of nature. So I'm going to close with this then. The reason why is because the West has developed this masculine-feminine idea. In the East, in India, it's always been one thing. Since they started pondering, right? Before the Indus Valley, they understood that God is an abstraction beyond thought, and yet not beyond knowing. Masculine and feminine. So, through the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna declares, I am the Father and the Mother of the universe. I am the Creator of all. I am the highest to be known, the Purifier, the Holy Om, and the three Vedas. So one of the things that we can use with this idea of the sacred feminine, and I invite you to practice this today, is to allow ourselves to step into the idea of coming to our spiritual practice not as a duty to be to be fulfilled, but rather an act of spontaneity, of love. Of love. So let's call the musicians up, and we'll explore this a little bit further. So taking a deep breath again. So, how can we honor Mother's Day in a deeper way today? So for some of you, that will mean, how can I honor myself in a deeper way as mother? To acknowledge, to take a moment, particularly if your mother is still alive, to take a moment to acknowledge your role as mother, as the receptive vessel of the divine expressing as mother. How can we connect within ourselves and acknowledge that sacred feminine within us, within the hearts of each one of us, to allow ourselves to soften, to be broken open, and to experience the sacred feminine in our life today through the courageous, outlandish, outrageous expression of the radiant love that Spirit is today. And take that outrageousness and that fierceness in love, that commitment to loving kindness and compassion for all. Foster that in our work today. Take that into our work week this week. And check in next week and see what's different.
Sweet mother, I'm coming home.
Sweet mother, I'm coming home.
Now I know I'm not alone.
Now I know I'm not alone.
'Cause I've been far,
I've been far,
now I'm close.
now I'm close.
Sweet mother, I'm coming home.
Sweet mother, I'm coming home.
Tell me, mother, can you hear me sing?
Tell me, mother, can you hear me sing?
Your love is everything,
Your love is everything.
heart and soul,
Heart and soul,
breath and skin.
breath and skin.
Your love is everything.
Your love is everything.
Oh, mother, please hold me tight.
Oh, mother, please hold me tight.
Mother, I need some help tonight.
Mother, I need some help tonight.
And what went wrong
What went wrong
will soon be right.
soon be right.
Oh, mother, please hold me tight.
Oh, mother, please hold me tight.
Tell me, mother, can you hear me
Tell me,
sing?
mother, can you hear me sing?
Your love is everything,
Your love is everything.
heart and soul,
Heart and soul,
breath and skin.
breath and skin.
Your love is everything.
Your love is everything.
Oh, mother, this world is strange.
Oh, mother, this world is strange.
Love me, mother, and make me brave.
Love me, mother, and make me brave.
In my dreams
In my dreams,
or on this stage.
on this stage.
Oh, mother, this world is strange.
Oh, mother, this world is strange.
Tell me, mother, can you hear me
Tell me,
sing?
mother, can you hear me sing?
Your love is everything,
Your love is everything.
heart and soul,
Heart and soul,
breath and than skin.
breath and skin.
Your love is everything.
Your love is everything.
Yeah, tell me, mother, can you hear me sing?
Tell me, mother, can you hear me sing?
Your love is everything.
Your love is everything.
Heart and soul,
Heart and soul,
breath and skin.
breath and skin.
Your love is everything.
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 Well, that was beautiful, huh? Yeah, let's give him another hand there. Thank you. Yeah, nice. Yeah, and so we got to sing with you today, so that's great. Thank you. All right, so as we prepare our gifts for the offering, we're going to call our usherettes up forward.
Spirit receives through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through me. Spirit receives through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Oh, Spirit lives and breathes through me.
So, breathing into this moment, we just recognize and know that the gifts presented here this morning are a demonstration of consciousness that knows and knows that it knows that God is our source, our substance and supply. So from the heart that has been broken open by this act of generosity, we, representing the heart of this spiritual community, accept these gifts with deep appreciation, love, and respect, whether given here this morning or this morning online. That we recognize they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless. The vision of and mission of this center for spiritual living, and centers everywhere, but also people here this morning. We recognize their life vision too, knowing that it goes forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless. Life itself, that we express this idea and have this sense of knowing for our friends here in the community of Granada Hills, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, for our Mother Earth as well, that we recognize and remember and know that it is all an expression from the very mind of spirit itself. To the extent that we know this to be so, we see its demonstration in ways great and small. This lifts our hearts, and we lift others in that lifting and in that raising, recognizing and knowing that in some odd little way, it's all good because it's all God. And we just acknowledge it with grateful hearts by saying, and so it is. So please help me thank our ushers this morning, Sandy Kelly, Andrea Reck, and bring the kids on in.
Yeah.
Very good. So I see some familiar faces here this morning. The word must have got out. Lovely to see you. So do we have a spokesperson today? All right. Lorelai, you've grown up since I saw you last. How are you?
Taller. I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Tired? What, you had to get up this morning? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Don't you watch me online every morning? Come on. Every Sunday morning?
I try.
She's my new best friend. All right, so what'd you do back there? What do you got?
Okay, so first we did treatment, and then we were held in suspense about what we were going to do, which was frustrating because I need to know everything. And then we made mine is kind of dying, but we made a ribbon for someone and out of paper, and it's pretty cool, although mine kind of failed. But otherwise, yeah.
It looks good. Come on,
It
Rosa.
says love
Come on,
is
you
all
guys
there
come up,
is. Yeah,
share
yours is
yours.
better.
Come on. Share yours. Come on up.
Pretty stuff.
Very nice. So what does yours say?
They also
Love is all there is.
Okay. Yours says the same.
Same thing.
All right. Very good. All right. Thank you. Yes, let's give him some love. All right, and so what did the kids do, briefly?
We did Mother's Day card, and Nancy wrote the visual screen and how good we are, and we make these creative Mother's Day cards for our mothers is out there, and yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Chloe. Thank you, kids. Thank you, your youth church people. You know, we could use some help with our youth, so if you've had Signs of Mind class, it's a wonderful way to not only get to know these beautiful souls, but also to serve the world by means of spiritual community. So that if that appeals to you, you can talk to Lissa. Raise your hand, Lissa, right here in the front. Yes, so thank you. And it's lovely to see Isis and Big Daddy Dave in the back there. I saw you coming in. All right, so let's invite our practitioners and our ministers to circle the room. Ken will play us out. Wayne will pray us out.
So, I invite you to close your eyes in this closing treatment if you wish, and just know and recognize that I am the masculine energy and I am the feminine energy, and I am one with God and express myself in both aspects, in my relationships with people and with how I interact with people. And I know that in this place of oneness, that there is love, peace, joy. There is a softness, and there's also the masculine side. And I know that as I go about my day, I communicate from the heart. It is warming, it's kind. I uplift people, and I just take the time to be aware and awake anytime that I speak and communicate throughout the day. And I just know right here, right now, that this day is filled with love, peace, and joy. And I know and recognize that I am filled with gratitude and ease and joy, and give thanks for this gathering and this center. And as I release my word, I release it knowing it is complete and done, and together we say, and so it is.
Please stand for the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with Carole? Wireless. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she precious? Less than 1 minute. Oh, I never thought through love we'd be making one as lovely as she. Isn't she lovely? Made of love. Isn't she pretty? Truly the angel's best. Boy, I'm so happy. We have been heaven blessed. I can't believe what God has done through us. He's given life to one. But isn't she lovely? Made from love. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she precious? Less than 1 minute. Oh, I never thought through love we'd be making one as lovely as she. But isn't she lovely? Made from love. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she precious? Less than 1 minute. Oh, I never thought through love we'd be making one as lovely as she. Isn't she lovely? Made from love.
Good job. Hey man, nice to know yourself. Hi, how you doing? Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Nice to see
Your wife is talking with they want to come on here. Thank you. Great job, Angela. Thank you.